Hello, this is episode 51. Welcome. We have quite a lot of stuff to do today. It's a Saturday. And I was gonna do other stuff, but we're kind of behind on hours for this project. We have 30 hours worked so far. So we'll take a look here. Actually, just under 30. So, yeah, we are going to fill that gap with today, and I don't think I will stream tomorrow, but yeah. Alright, let's get some music going. Yo! Any questions? Before we get started here? Oh no. Alright, so we're gonna fix up profile here to use our new state management system, the new model implementation has a much nicer interface than before, so we're gonna fix that up here. We provide a class for show instance, but now show instance doesn't take that anymore as an argument. We actually want to provide the promise here. So we provide profiles there, and there we go. So now we no longer need this import. I think, what do we use profile now? Okay, there we go. So we use it there. Can we property get if undefined? Looks like we have a problem with paginated list. Yeah, collections interests is not provided. So one of the other differences that in our new sort of system, is our system is designed to take in arbitrary collections in its generic methods, and these will usually come from the store. So we actually have to resolve interests because that's important for showing the interest instances. Basically, we need these interests to be provided as an argument. So what we have to do is let's see. So in RESTful component, we kind of have an issue where collection get isn't providing arguments for collections. So show instance will have to provide that argument here. And so rather than accepting store field, we actually want to accept collections as an argument. Collections is the reduced collections that are required for the action. So sort of like how in you know, Redux or other state management systems, you have to resolve the state. So we have to do that manually here. We have to say interest collection. So that way we resolve all the interests. Well, we resolve the interest collection, and then we can use that collection there. And so what happens now when we reload? We still get that error. It looks like. Okay, well, looks like we get a different error. Oh no, same error. Collections interests dot get. And that's supposed to be provided for the other argument, which is list. So we were modifying the wrong method there. Well, so we changed it up so that the resolved collections happens wherever you call the reducer or whatever. So like the collection is naively aware of a store. It doesn't know what store it's in, besides that it contains its own values. It doesn't know where other, you know, codependent values are. So that's why we provide it as an argument. So that's interesting though. That's happening in list, so that's why it's screwed up. Profiles.collections. Oh yeah, that's right, we got rid of that. So now we have to do that manually. So we have to say actually in the list we don't really need that, to be honest. Now that I think about it, we don't need interests in the list. We only need page, I think. It says list, we need that, but I don't think we do. Because when we list profiles, we don't actually show the interests in the profile list. So what's cool about this is like now we can lazily resolve instances whenever we need them. And it's actually quite nice because now that I'm thinking that we don't need, you know, interests to be resolved, it will still populate the profile instances with interest instances, but those interest instances will be fake. And so the collection is aware of its fake instances. And then when we want to populate said instances, so when we want to populate said instances, we just have to provide that in so I implemented generic functions. This is like kind of lispy because these are like basically functions that take classes as arguments or instances as arguments and stuff. It's really cool. There's still some unimplemented stuff, but so with list we don't need to resolve interests anymore, so we can actually remove this argument. But for get, we do need to resolve it, so we have to put that there. So and I don't know if generic get takes collections. Okay, it does. And it also gets children. So and so this will resolve, so this here, children right here, this is a an array of store values that need to be resolved. So in this case, we need up-to-date interests, so we need real interest instances, because on the profile details page it lists the person's interests, and what that means is that we can't, even if we have the interest IDs, we won't have the like interest name, the interest, you know, description and all that stuff. So what this will do is there's a method on the instance called resolve children, and it will resolve the interests using the get method on the interest collection, and it will actually await until those, well, it'll wait until all those interests are resolved to then you know, get a result from this asynchronous function. So it's really like comfy. It almost feels like synchronous when it's not. So it's like really fast, I think, because nothing will stall the you know, model. So it will everything will really work well, because you know, it's not going to wait on the one network request and freeze the entire program and whatnot, and it's really nice. Anyway, so want that in details. Looks like we have errors. Okay, 404 not found. That's because we don't have the resource name defined for one of these methods. So I think that's on maybe on interest. Yeah, so oh, that's interesting. Well, okay, so that's interesting. Where is that coming from? So that's paginated list. I guess collection isn't defined or something. So paginated list here is where we pass in this. So what's going on there, huh? Collection resources right here. Is this? Oh. Is that because it's a static value? It's not really working? I'm not sure. What happens if I put wait a sec. Yeah, what happens if I put or that's in paginated list. Oh, wait a sec. Where is it? Down here. Okay. That's kind of weird. I thought that worked. Okay. That did work. So for, yeah, static field access, we can't just use that in that manner. We have to get it from the constructor. That's a good note. So we have to do that everywhere. JavaScript. Okay, so definitely we're seeing that it's fetching those models, and also it's fetching those interests. Wait a second. Why is it doing that? Oh, okay. Never mind. So the reason why it's doing that is because those are resolved. Those are returned from the serializer here. So we don't actually need to resolve. See, we have some error here. Result collection for field not found. Interests not found. Okay. So we don't actually need to resolve those because it's provided in the serializer. So I don't think I handle that case because I either that's a pain. Yeah, our logic's kind of complicated. We have like all this nested stuff. Let's see. So I think we still have to provide the collection there. If I am correct. So in list, yeah, we still have to provide that interest collection. And the reason why is because even if they're fake instances, we still have to have instances that are attached to some collection. Because what I tried to do is I didn't want for there to be the ability to create model instances that are just hanging around, like they're not actually attached to an external collection. So we had this before where with model instance, it just naively returns a new model instance. And we want to really just get rid of this method entirely. The only place we use it now is for content items or whatever, because content items, I sort of was of the opinion that it would be kind of silly to have a single content item collection, because if someone's on the app, you know, for like 20 minutes and they're just browsing content, you know, if everything is just appended to the content item store, you could have like 2,000 items in there, and it would just get really, the app would noticeably get slower and slower and slower because the collection is just growing. So I have to figure out how to organize that better, so that it doesn't slow down at a certain point. I don't think it would too badly. It's something I have to consider though, is before moving it over to a collection, I have to figure out if it would even be a viable choice. If that makes sense. Alright, so you have to put those there. So interest dot collection. And I want to get rid of this boilerplate, but for now we kind of have to have this. But it's actually quite readable because you can understand, if you understand the framework, it's easy to understand that this argument here is the reliant collections that are required. So interest is not a function, okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're right. That's a good idea. Yeah, I was thinking, that's kind of naive though, a little bit. Like, I mean, yeah, you know, having it as like a revolving door, right? That's kind of like a naive way to do it. And that's probably the way I would do it for like the, well, what I was thinking is it would be good to have it based on your current URL, where like it'd be aware of what page you were on. So like you'd be unlikely to go really far back, but maybe you could. I don't know. But then actually no, the FIFO buffer does kind of deal with that situation because it's assumed that you're going page to page, and so earlier page items wouldn't really they would already fall off, basically. So yeah, that would work. But right now there's no limit, there's no like but also part of the difficulty is knowing whether or not whether or not it's safe to pull out that instance, because that might be in view or rendered on the current view, and if it's rendered on the current view and it gets deleted, then the user would see it getting deleted or something like that. Where the heck was I? Damn it, too many windows open. Shit. Okay. Yeah, you can't really size them on someone's RAM in JavaScript because it's not, you can't tell how much memory it's using without using an analyzer and all that. So it has to be some kind of artificial limit, really. Unless I made it a desktop application, which would be cool. Well, the thing with the collection is it's not aware of the router state at all. So that'd be kind of difficult, and I wouldn't want it to either. But I think the probably the FIFO buffer is good enough for now. But then yeah, that problem of knowing whether or not that item is being rendered is kind of an issue. What is it saying again? It's saying interest is not a function here. What did I do there? Oh, I'm an idiot. So I reassign that value. That's kind of redundant. I think we can do this. I hope we can. Oh no, we can't do that. Where am I? I'm losing myself. Anyway. Yeah, we can't do this comfiness, unfortunately. Oh wait, interests? What? It's still not a function? Interest is not defined. Okay, so I never imported it. That was that's very smart. Ooh. What? Wait. Wait a second. Why did I do dot collection exactly? I need to look at where I actually implemented it properly. Because I know there's a dot something, right? No, that's only for getting values. What was I thinking? Yeah, that would probably work. No, that would work, definitely. Because there'd have to be some kind of, so infinite scrolling is kind of a thing that makes that difficult. Because I was thinking of infinite scrolling, but if there's manual pagination, like, you know, where you actually have to click the next page, then it's much easier. But infinite scrolling is difficult because, you know, then you have the height of the scroll bar, and the issue is like the item at the top would have to become a fake item. You see what I mean? So it would delete the instance. Actually, I don't think. Well, you would delete the instance, but it would become like a fake rendered. So that way it maintains the same height. So you're on this. You're on the, you know, bottom of the scroll bar. The issue is when you scroll all the way up. So like maybe there's like a jump to top. It would go like all through those items. But I don't think it would really actually maintain the same scroll bar. Like I don't think it would get, the scroll bar would get shorter and shorter and shorter. There'd be a maximum distance that the scroll bar could travel, and then what you would do is, there's technically a page that you're on, you're just not seeing the page, if that makes sense. So there is paging on an infinite scroll bar, but you're not, well, what happens is if when you scroll back up, it would have to, like when you reach the top, go back to the last page and then back to the last page and then back. Well, it's, yeah, I mean, I think that's how most of them do it, because I don't know, wait, I don't know. Oh shit. Okay. I don't know why I did interests, but I think I put dot collection because I wasn't thinking or something. But I still need to import that. I don't know why I didn't. Yeah, that's probably that'll probably be good. What's great is there won't be the problem of like dangling instance references, because since it's all stored in the store once it deletes an instance, that instance is gone everywhere. Actually, wait, no, never mind. No, that would be fine. Yeah, it would work that way. Okay. Yeah, so we have some basic type checking doing its job. It's saying that invalid model field instantiation, model field is neither a primary key, object, nor an array. Okay. So interesting. I'm gonna just go debug that. Okay, field interests. Oh, the interest is a. What is it saying? So that's weird. It should be an array. Oh, wait a second. That's why. So we should have had that as an array here. We have a problem there. How this works is we have like basic types going on. And basically, since interest is plural here, this is supposed to be in an array like that. That's how we do like many relations. So our little type check there did its job, and it will not throw an error any longer. Okay, there we go. Except we have duplicates. I don't know how that happened. Maybe it's because. Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, so we only recall the API once, but somehow we're getting duplicates. Yeah, so there's probably an issue with our get instances method, where it will try to get yeah, I always see this is duplicating model instances where it shouldn't be. So the weird part is that we have actual instances with the correct values, and then it creates a different instance. Oh, wait, and then it creates these ones separately. Okay, interesting. So there's some kind of duplicate logic going on. This is gonna be difficult to debug, probably. But okay, the place where we do this. So it sees them as missing instances twice, so it shouldn't be happening. Okay, so this is make filtered profile function. I don't think we use the filtered version. Do we? Alright. No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, we don't. Okay. But actually, we shouldn't have to provide this argument at all. No. Okay, so let's look at the model. We have an issue with our model. This is a very meaty, like, abstraction. It's not, like, crazy, but it deals with edge cases, so yeah. Okay. I actually just want to step through. That's probably the best plan, because we're getting doubles, and then we can look at the call stack. Let's look over here. Actually, before the for loop is probably the best option. Okay, so here we go. We'll look at the state of the store. Oh, looks like we can't. So we have collections here with interest, and the interest collection is empty. What we see, we have these two IDs, missing IDs as well. Items contains let's expand this window. Okay, so we have these uncreated items, and they're classified as missing instances. So what it's going to do is basically push those to the store. And so we'll step over that. Okay, we don't care. Oh, okay. Now this is the interest. It looks like. There we go. Okay, so then we'll go over here. I'm just gonna click play. And this is the interests that are created. This is the nested relation. So like if we look at the call stack, we have resolve instances being called here, and then we have another call of resolve instances, or sorry, get instances over here for the nested interests. So we'll click play again, and it looks like what happens here? It gets called twice. It sees it as those existing, and then missing instances, it says that philosophy and computers are missing for some reason, which is odd, because if we look at the interest collection store, those interests are clearly present, as we see there. So let's see, we have and this is the interest collection as well, and we see that it's clearly in the store. So there's a problem, because it looks like missing IDs isn't being calculated correctly. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and reload here. We want to start from the beginning. So at first it's going to create those missing instances, and then now we are creating those missing interests. So for some reason it goes in get instances twice, but even if it goes twice, oh no, I know why it goes twice, because there's two profiles, and this profile has two IDs, two interest IDs. And so we want to step over that. In existing instances, oh, that's why we don't append to existing IDs. Wow. It took me all that time to realize it. Okay. So we actually want to append that I want to do so those are existing instances. We need to calculate existing IDs. We have to loop over existing instances and the map. And return. So there we go. So now existing IDs will get populated here. So those won't get created twice. Hopefully. So let's just go through. Okay, we still have that problem. That's strange. Okay. Existing IDs. What do we want to play? Damn it. Here we go. Alright, so so existing IDs includes ID. That means if it doesn't, then that means it's missing. Okay. So let's debug it again. Alright, so looks like existing IDs doesn't have anything, and so all of them are missing, obviously. And this is where we resolve interests, and those obviously don't have anything either. But the second time, existing instances has both, existing IDs has both, so missing IDs should not pass through. All of them exist as well, so we shouldn't have that. And so that's kind of confusing because it doesn't add duplicate. It shouldn't be adding duplicate instances. Maybe. Okay, there's two profiles. I wonder with groups if it does that. No, groups is fine. So this only occurs in user lists for some reason. And we can verify that it's storing duplicates. Yeah, that's probably, well, on add instances. So this should be the last time. So paginated list calls resolve instances, which is doing diff nested model. Fuck. Okay. Let's call. Let's debug where generics is. Over here. Okay. So, oh, that's interesting. Instances is there's only two. So is it calling it twice? No. So. Oh, what? Why do I push the instances here? What? What? That's interesting. I get the instances and then I push the, yeah, there we go. That's why. That's really silly. I don't know why that was there. But then what's also confusing is that that groups does not have that problem. Interesting. Yeah, we get instances and then for some reason we push an instance. Why did we do that? Just like wincing, like, Okay. Does group work fine out there? Okay, I mean, I don't know. God damn it. So we basically just pushed it to instances twice for some reason. I think it's because we wanted to return instances, but in this case the instances are already assembled up here. So I think because I was copying and pasting stuff. But actually that gets me kind of concerned. Does that mean that... Oh, that's right, we don't have resolve instances in Cat. Wait a sec. Wait a sec. That's not the problem. For group, because that group, the thing that concerns me is that group didn't trigger that duplicate thing. So that probably means something's wrong with group. Oh, for group we don't even call that. That's why. We don't even call this paginated list method. Because by default it lists the groups that you're a member of, and that's unlikely to be like a huge number. So that's why it doesn't paginate them. So that's why it didn't show up for group as being duplicate. Okay, so now we have the user list working. We can go there. But now, oh, actually, details works. I thought that wouldn't work. Okay, no, actually, it won't work if we reload. That's the problem. It won't work if we reload, but it works when the interests are resolved. See? If we reload here, this also works, and it's quite snappy, you know. Oh, actually, that visual glitch right there should be dealt with. I want to go to profile. We have edit. It is active user. This instance ID equals user details profile. We actually might want to. Oh, initial state. That's right. We want to do this is active user equals false. So that way, when we go here and then go back, it doesn't have that glitch anymore, because it initializes or resets that state. Okay, so that's good. The only thing we need to do now is get details working, which is difficult because we don't have get instance implemented. We have get instances working, but we don't have get instance working. And so we want to get that working for a single instance. Yeah, see ya. Alright, okay, oh. We're going to create a utility method. And we can actually use add instance there. Another thing that I noticed is we don't add that to we don't want to do that. We actually want to do stored IDs. Something's wrong. Okay, and want. And then we want to return and we can actually just not retain that, and we can just make that simpler. And then way, and so if the stored IDs includes that ID, then it exists, and we just have to return that existing instance. So if exists, return this. Values, filter or find for that ID. And then if it doesn't, we have to fake the instance or do something else, which is oh. So there we go, we have get instance implemented, and we don't. The reason why get instances isn't going to just be an alias for a map of get instance is that we have this optimization here that we already know if it's a primary key or not, and we'd rather not do a loop of all of these functions. We'd rather actually kind of figure it out all at once. And loop, because we have to resolve ordering and all of that, so yeah. Alright, so we're going to take this function, missing instances, try this over here, and we want new instance to actually simply push this add instance for item and collections, and that way we don't have to do anything fancy there. So there we go, that simplifies it. quite a bit, and cool. The only thing is we actually want to make existing IDs use this stored IDs. And actually we do IDs.map for ID and return this stored IDs includes ID. So that way we can, instead of looping over the entire value set twice, we can only do that once. And so existing instances will only filter over for existing IDs. So that way we don't have that problem. So it'll only filter over values as necessary. And we only want to do that if so if existing IDs has a length, let's see. So let's optimize this. I want to optimize this because we don't need to loop over values if we don't want to do this symbol filter. We actually want to stop the loop if we find all of the IDs. And yeah, so we'd like to do this where if existing ID's length is 1, then we just want to do existing instances dot push for this values find where that existing ID so there we go, and then we want to do else if existing ID's length is greater than 1, then we do a loop, an optimized loop, where we grab those. Alright, so then the reason we're using a loop here is we need control where we actually would like to do a while loop. So while the found IDs is different than the number that are existing, we have to loop over actually this is better as a for loop here. Yeah, this value is high. For oh. So if the found ID's length is different than the num that are existing, then we continue. This is some serious shit right here. This optimization. This will make it so that if it finds the IDs before it reaches the end, it'll just terminate. And I is less than. I think that the JavaScript will compile that away, optimize that away. Because the length doesn't, well, it doesn't know that the length of existing IDs will not change. I think so, I don't know. Actually, I don't think it does. Because it's not compiled, it's interpreted, so it's like, what are you gonna do if I get that out? So found IDs includes the ID, then that means that, oh wait, shit, we don't even have to do that because there's definitely not duplicate instances. If there's duplicate instances, we have a different problem. But we append that there. We also append the value itself. Holy shit. Existing instances, append this values. There we go. So this is really messy, but what this basically does is find all existing instances. And stop looking if all instances have been found. And of course we could filter, or we could do a dot find each time, so we could like filter or map on the IDs and like find that ID, or find in the store where that instance is, but then we're looping over the entire store as many IDs there are, and that's very inefficient. So we only want to loop over the store once, because, well, we actually, we only want to loop over the store once to find, ideally. So that's why this for loop is necessary, because we do not want to loop over multiple times. Okay, and so once all IDs have been found, the loop will terminate. The loop will terminate once all IDs have been found. Because then the length will be the same of num existing to the number of found IDs. And then existing instances will have that same length. So we optimize that, and then missing IDs is the IDs We could do the same optimization here, actually. But those are just IDs, they're not in all instances, so it doesn't really matter that much. But here it matters, because the looping over the entire store multiple times could be expensive. Computationally. Okay. Found IDs. Oh wait. So there we go. Looks like we have a problem. Const ID, this value is ID. Okay, I think we want to actually, what is this saying? Wait, what? Oh, that's right. We did that wrong. We actually want to filter, not map. Oh, it's dot push, not append. Okay, same problem. That's Python right there. That made me do that. Cool, works. So that was kind of a optimization. A little bit. But now when we go here and reload, okay, then there's still that problem. No Twitch viewers today. What's going on? Freaking normies. Please. Okay, let's look at the error it gave me. Collection.get is not a function. Okay, so we simply call that the wrong way. was in profile. Where did we go? Oh, there we go. Okay. So details, params ID, profiles, interest collection. Okay. I don't understand why it's erroring then. I guess it's in the RESTful component it's complaining. Okay, so show instance is bugged. What is it saying? Cannot read property ID undefined. Collection.get is not a function. Okay, so the profiles collection get isn't being called. So let's see, we have get here. Collection.get instance should be calling with collections as an argument. And then profile.js should have a get method. Okay, it says that get is not a function, which is odd. So what's going on there? Yeah, await collection.get. Oh, we actually, wait a second. Instance equals null. That's a problem here. ID instance collection. Uh-oh. Try getting instance directly. Okay. So you want to turn that around. Okay. So profiles.get is not a function. That's really odd, huh? Oh wait, shit, it reloaded. Oh, never mind. That's on the list. Oh, that's because we don't await the collection. That's right. Wrong one. Okay. Here I go. So we have to await collection. There we go. And we don't need to push this object here, as far as I know. Well, no, well, let's keep that there. Okay, so no error. Oh, we have an error. Okay. Oh, we got an error in invalid model nested right collection for field interest not found. Okay. Damn it. Alright, and then I need to try each time. Okay, we have to include interests here. That's what we do. That's confusing. I think, what is it saying? Result collection for field interest not found. So the sync method isn't getting it, and that's in generics. Collection, okay. We're looking at get. So it's collection ID instance collections. Get instance. Oh. Here we go. There we are. Interesting. So it doesn't work. ID of null. Okay. Interesting. Okay, one of the objects is null, and then one of them is not. And instance is null, so we're not returning somewhere. We have to return instance there. Right. So, and there we are. Okay, cool. So now it works on reload. Cool. Try go on Twitch or something. Is that worse? I actually need the viewers on Twitch to get my average up. My connection's really good, so it shouldn't be me. Alright, so maybe we want to get the interest page working. Looks like we have a problem with interest collection again. We actually have that problem because of the change we made to interest, or the model show instance. So we actually would like that to be interests, and we have to resolve, oh, we don't have to resolve it because interests will be resolved by show instance, and we also, well, we don't need to pass anything. And then interested, we await interested users and simply make that in there. We don't use interest collection anymore. So there we go, now it shows those, but when we go to profile details there, we have another problem. So when we view the profile just as it is, it works. But if we reload on interest, oh, okay. There we are. Get instances, value, undefined, okay. Interesting. Okay. Oh, that's why. Wait, no, never mind. Yeah, interest gets serialized as a list there. Oh, those are params. That's right. Okay, and it gets duplicated again. That's not good. So somehow it appends an undefined value to the store, which is no good. Okay, field interests. This is for profile. Oh, why is profile being resolved here? Ah, okay, I see. So interested users is the problem here. Interested users is reliant on the correct parameters being passed in. If we look at this over here, if we do this, and we provided the interest collection, so there we go. Alright, and it tries to populate them with the interest here. And in this case, interest is empty, so it won't be able to resolve them. So I think the way we solve this for group is we didn't do that at runtime. We'll copy from group. Okay. And now we have this generic method, resolve instances, that we can use. And then because we have to resolve the interests that don't exist, essentially. Now the thing is that no, never mind, whatever. Alright. There we go, and we also had to import resolve instances. And there we go. Now we should not have a problem. Okay, we have an error. Not read property ID of undefined. Okay. Ooh, that's no good. We should never be appending an undefined value to store. We actually, let's look at group. So we do the same thing as we do in group. Let's take a look at interest.get. We see we changed up the formatting. If we look at generics, it's resolve instances. We'll call the getter by throwing collection in there. So how is profile getter? What's that look like? Okay. So somehow it's getting undefined values. No, my site won't have any tracking at all. Well, I have a little bit, but it'll be all custom, like based on what I want to track, like the number of users online, the number of. But no, I'm not gonna track URLs on like Google Analytics or stuff. No, it's Dance with the Dead. Interesting. Somehow. Oh. So on the fourth iteration, it goes kaput. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Wait a sec. Oh, it's supposed to be. Wait a sec. What? Oh. Never mind. Okay, it's wait, what? That's not good. Found ID's length is 3, non-existing is 2. So that means there's duplicates, I think. Max is the that's the length of the store. So yeah, there is duplicate interest models that are being added, and that's why it screws up. That's no good. Why is it adding duplicates? Yeah. That too. But technically that shouldn't happen at all. Because if it's a found ID, that means it's definitely within the store. And the only reason the lengths don't match up is because non-existing is 2, and that's the number of IDs that exist within the store. But the problem is that since there's a duplicate item, the lengths don't match up. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. But they should match up. There should never be duplicates. So I have to look at why there's duplicates. Yes. Well, no, it's not always true. It's only true because there's a duplicate. I don't know why. So call stack. So yeah, like if we look at the store, yeah, there's 3 IDs. One of them is being set twice. So, but the odd thing is storage IDs isn't being there. I think it's because we push it somewhere where we're not supposed to. So maybe the RESTful component. Yeah, we do push. Yeah, we shouldn't do that. We do not want that. Okay, there we go. So what I did is before, what was happening is like shit. So before, what was happening is I would push to the store directly because all the actions like get and whatever, they were static methods, so I had to do some, you know, some work there. But now, whenever we get a instance from the store, it will automatically append that to the store if it doesn't exist, basically. So now we can go here. Uh-oh. We have a problem. Oh shit. So if we go to that profile, it works. If we go to this, it does not work. Let's look at what the store has. Okay, we just have me. One of them. There's one of them. So the profile get isn't working. Oh, that's right. Okay, the reason why we were pushing to objects is wrong one. We were pushing to objects because it'll try to get the profile from the views list of objects, and the problem is that if the profile list was already called, or if the profiles already exist. Oh wait, shit, actually those are separate collections, never mind. Interested users is a separate profile collection. So, but what happens is if we, for example, if we select me first, it works, but then the second one does not work because it sees those objects as populated now, and so it will not try to, you know, get that collection. So let's see, so that's odd though, because the way it should work is if there's no instance in this object, it should try to get it over here. So we'll go back here, and if we look at instance, it's undefined. So I don't know why it would complain, or why it wouldn't pass through. So we'll go to profile.view, and when we go to details, it will so the collection definitely is present, but I want to log instance here. So we'll go back here, and we see that it logs instance. Where? It logs collection because that didn't exist before. And when we go back, it should be logging instance here. Looks like it's a promise. Okay. So there's our problem. We didn't await. It is very simple. We have to do that. There we go. That was our problem there. It's asynchronous. So what that means is it's resolved asynchronously, and so it has to be called with that syntax. So now we can go to any profile, add a win, we can reload, go to the interest, reload, it works. We can go there, reload, etc. And it all works asynchronously, and it's beautiful. It's not beautiful. Okay, alright, so we have it working with interest and interest details. Oh, we actually need to look at interest list. I don't think we have interest list. Yeah, if we go to here, it'll fail. It won't fail, it's just that there's no view programmed for it. Group works too, except we have a problem where if we go to group manage, members is unresolved, so it looks ugly here. And also when we reload on details, it screws up as well because it uses our old syntax. The user list works fine. I think profile manage is also messed up, so we'll want to change that syntax. So manage here. Now one thing is I think it returns because this active user is set to false as initial state, and each time we switch actions we reset initial state, or we set initial state, so that's kind of a problem because we would like that value there. So instead, let's set that as in details, so we have that is set. And also we want to change this into X. So there's a lot of boilerplate that we can get rid of, but okay. So it doesn't want to do this because there's no active user. But if we go to details, it figures out it's the active user, and then now we can go here. And I think we can, let's say, remove that interest. Interest is not a function, okay. Okay, so we have an issue there. In manage profile. That's because we accidentally renamed it. There we go. So now we can remove an interest. We go back. Oh, it's still there. Brilliant. And we reset the interest though, so when we reload, it's no longer there. But the problem there, I'm not sure. Oh, it worked there. But yeah, when we add an interest, it doesn't seem to sync up properly. I think that's a problem. So objects instance is definitely there. Or no, it definitely didn't add there. I think that's because our manage function isn't, or our generic manage function isn't resolving the nested relations or something like that. So if we look in generics, we have this manage function now. It should be syncing to those collections. And so there's probably an issue with our syncing logic. If we So I kind of hate debugging sync because it's such a complicated procedure. I kind of want to print the entire diff tree just to see what it looks like. Okay, so that worked, but then adding one does not work. Okay, so we're going to look at the diff tree. Okay, here we go. Diff tree. So we have a diff on interest, and it's saying that interest is an empty array. And then here, looks like it doesn't measure changes for when an element was added. Oh, here we go. No, wait. Yeah, so it doesn't see a difference there when an element was added, only when it was removed. So we can verify that again by seeing that there was no log for the diff tree. So in here we have to evaluate what's going on. So this is the diffing function. We know many is true because it's many interests. Well, it's an array of interests. I really need to commit this, but since it broke most of the site, I don't really want to commit that. You know, if it's broken, if it broke everything, it's like 600 lines of code or something that's changed. Look at that. Look at that. 700 insertions, 350 deletions. Well, the problem is it's such a huge change. It broke everything, you know? Like, I wrote a diffing algorithm, I wrote a fucking, whatever. Commit early, commit often, go away. What? Alright, okay, so I will do that, hopefully. I don't know. Wait. Tell you what. Where do we want to do changes? 295. Okay. 295. Okay. So it it definitely records the changes when you remove an instance, but not when you add an instance. Okay, and so the value is an array, and the way it checks if there's a difference is it says if the value length is 0 and the current field value is 0, then there's definitely a change in empty array, okay? But otherwise, it just sets many to true. And the field is definitely in the constructor field, so we do a diff on the nested model field. And the nested, I guess the nested change is not coming back as true. So we can verify this. Jeez. Yeah. So we'll look there. Remove the interest, add it, and we see that we have false. And the odd thing is that it definitely changed. We have a list of changes there. So diff nested model field isn't returning the correct value. And that's because we never set change to true. Wow. Okay. There's a difference. Set change to true. Okay. So now we should not have that issue. Whoa. Uh-oh. How the fuck did that happen? Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. So just by setting change to true, we have a problem. And so I suppose that's because of something to do with that. Okay, invalid attempt to destructure non-iterable instance. And that's in mutate instance. Okay. So I thought there'd be this comfy syntax. Wait, no, we can't do that. Oh man. So we can't do destructuring? Is that what it is? Wait a sec, but that should work out. That's where do we do the function again? Div nested model field. That should return. Oh, that's why we don't give it the arguments. Oh, mutation. Oh, but mutation isn't an array. No, yeah, it should be an array. So I guess mutation isn't an array. Oh, that's why. We have to push it as an array into nested changes. So now it works. We can reload, verify that. And so we'll remove the interest and re-add it. And there we go. And when we look at console, we see that we see that the nested changes works out for both times, which is when we remove an element and add an element. And in the case of field changes in the beginning, it returns a function. Okay, good. Cool. I want to clean up some of the logs that are going on. So I kind of want to view console log the diff tree, but I don't want to console log some of the stuff that's already tested. So here we go. We don't need that anymore. We do want to log the store, maybe no. And then nested changes, that works now, so no need to log that. And there we go. Now all it does is it returns the div tree, which is what's important. Okay. So one of the problems is, we'll go to this here. Interests, it gets populated based on what interests have already been listed. And before we listed all interests that were created ever, and so it showed the correct listing. But now if we do like if we do you know, let's reload this. Go to details and manage. We only see philosophy here, but like if we wanted birds, it will create another birds tag, and we can verify this. This now there's 2 birds interests, and that's no good. So with network, what happened? Oh, I think create for interest doesn't work anymore, probably. That's probably what happened. You used to be able to create interests on the fly. I guess that doesn't work anymore. Well, let's go here, edit, write birds. Oh, wait a sec. Okay, so that instance, if we click on this interest, this is a brand new interest, and we didn't want to create a new one. We wanted to search for the existing bird interest group rather than create a new one. So yay, more bugs. Okay. KMTV tapes. Okay, let's commit, maybe. I don't know, it's kind of broken as hell, but we kind of have to commit. Because this is massive, look at this. You know? It's like, what? Holy crap. That's not even counting those other files, so it's probably like 1,000 or something. Using this? No. What? Okay. This is my style, which is these massive. Whoa! 1,000 insertions. Holy crap. Because I'm king or something. I don't know. I have like these massive commits. Because, well, I mean, there's no one else really contributing to the project, so it's not like it's a big deal. Yeah, this is good shit. So this is like elite programming or something. I don't know. Not really. It's JavaScript. It's not elite. What am I talking about? This is on a different branch, so that's good. Okay. Holy moly. This commit is like massive. It's almost as I almost said that. This is annoying. Oh, we didn't want to change header, or wait a sec. Oh, that's fine. Okay, skip it. It's like massive. Okay. Okay. What did I do? Okay, completely overhauled model collection. Very broken. No, added content stash, started work on dashboard. That's really it. There's not much else. Warning. Broken. App. A lot of app functionality is broken until use are needed to new file collection. Okay, so there we go, we committed. So you can do that online, it's a massive commit. Get over here. Oh, we didn't push. Wait, what? Oh, this is on dynamic feed, that's why. So here we go. Woo! That's so many changes. Okay, but if the biggest change is in model, right? So that should be, yeah, right here, this change. This is like the biggest one with model. We completely overhauled just everything, pretty much. We wrote a diffing algorithm. We wrote like serialization logic. We wrote generic methods. It's sexy as hell. Yeah, holy shit, right? That took like that only took like a couple days too. Like all this work was like pretty much, well, like 3 days of work. But still, it's kind of significant if you realize like what it actually contains. It's like a massive amount of changes. So that's live on the MediaCenter GitHub in the dynamic feed branch. So alright. Okay, so let's get back to work here. I'm already on time. Okay, only 2.5 hours, huh? Let's see. Okay, we're gonna go to feed list. Fix that. This is kind of funny. This is anyway. feed might be broken actually, even if we write everything correctly. Okay, so vue.js, we have a problem because we didn't convert it to the newest format. So feed content types is one of the exceptions to the rule where, like, we know feed content types will never really change that much, so we don't really need to fetch it every time. So we want to show feeds that are created by that user, and so that would be a filtered feed collection rather than a unfiltered version. So we're going to refactor it to work correctly. We have a lot of, with feed we have a lot of resolutions. So it'll be kind of difficult to work around this. Okay, so one of the things is we don't store content items anymore. Content items are generated by the feed content stash collection, and thus there's differences. Okay, so okay, let's change the constructor over here. We want to make a filtered feed collection here. We want to rename this as well. So we'll have to change the import name. I really want to revise how we do filters because it's kind of messy the way we do it right now. And it's corrupt. It's like filled with corrupt. But that's fine for now. Let's go ahead. We put feed collection.list, but this is an asynchronous method now that does it by, you know, it takes arguments. We don't really want that anymore. We actually want to show it like the way we do in group. And the way group does it is it looks for this is a static method that uses query params. So we actually want to create another method and call it something else. We're going to say, you know, static my feeds. And we'll want to rename this here as well. We'll do that soon enough, but we want to say my feeds. We're just I'll call this all, but here we do this here. I'm gonna do the same thing. Eventually, I think. Well, I think that gets resolved on the back end, to be honest. So we don't really have to filter at all. But anyway. We actually don't need that anymore either. So we'll make that, use that as the query set. Okay, and then we want to change it up to use the new syntax. So the method, it looks a little longer, but it actually makes more sense here. We actually, let's make this destructured let. Okay. Const collection equals. And then we want to say, actually you want to destructure this here. Hopefully it works with the way, I would hope it does anyway. I want to say content types. Content type collection. Then interest collection, and values. So over here, we have to specify this as the list of collections. This is a lot of boilerplate, I realize. So we'll think of a better way to do this, but in the meantime we have to resolve everything manually. And in a way it's not too bad because it's very explicit what we're doing here. It's just not very, you know, intuitive. Okay, so we want interest collection. Let's turn on autocomplete. Interest collection. And so I think I want to make the store more intelligent. The store should probably do a lot of this manually, or all the manual stuff that we do here. We really should abstract out to something else because there's a lot of repetitiveness that comes along with this. And actually, we know that content types will be resolved all the time, so we don't need to put that in the list of resolutions, but we do not know if the interests will be resolved. So we put interest collection.get there. And there we go. Looks really good. Or, well, looks doesn't look really good, but I want to do the same destructuring here because alright, and so that way we don't have to access the results as an array. And it looks much more intuitive. And actually, another step we could do to make this simpler is, rather than this long verbose name, we can just use it like it is here. So that way we can do something like this. And there we go. And if you don't understand how that works, that's just some JavaScript ES6 stuff. And so we'll turn that to interest.get. And that looks very clean. So we want to change this to there we go. So that looks really good. Well, it looks better. It's still not ideal, but it cuts us. It gives us some slack here. So there we go. And then now, instead of calling this accounts, we call this members. And that's simpler to understand. If we could condense this part, then it would be even easier. But, okay, we have an error there. Uh-oh, we can't do destructuring for those. No, please. Come on. Damn it. Are you serious? That should work, though. If I just say this. Oh, this is an async. Okay, awesome. So we can do that. Awesome, destructuring. I love destructuring. Oh, identifier content types is not in camel case. Ooh. Damn it. Well, our internal model is okay. Unexpected new line between unexpected new line. Okay. Okay, cool. So now we have a filtered feed collection that gets created. It won't list still because something is wrong. Okay, so make filtered feed collection. Make sure that's imported up here. And it is. So we want to look at that. Feed collection all. It's saying it's not a function. And we want to return collection. So it's not a function anymore because it's supposed to be make filtered feed collection. So there we are. Resolve collection for field owner not found. Okay. And so owner is also supposed to be present. So not only do we have that provided, we also have to have accounts. Alright, so then we'll have to provide that here. So, length of undefined, okay. So that's strange. Looks like ooh, looks like group is getting called. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Let's go back. Alright, why is group, the group API being called? Okay, interest, content types, interest get, oh, what? Oh, I think that's because it's not in the initial state anymore, is it? Yeah, it's not. Alright, so just add that there. And we have a problem with resolve children. Okay. So it's trying to get interests and it fails. Okay, it's supposed to be feed interests. Wait a second. This is groups, isn't it? What's going on? Why is it showing the groups? What's going on with that? Why is it showing groups if we're on feed list? Is there some kind of relation? Oh, members, that's why. Members is trying to be resolved, and so that's why. That's not good. Yeah, okay. So why is it doing that? Okay, feed model, interests. Whoa. Uh-oh, I think we have a problem with the order. Key collection all, key content types, interest accounts, okay. Owner. Interesting. So why is feed getting assigned a group model value? This is where I am confused. Feed is getting assigned a group value. Feed model is getting assigned a group value. Okay, I think we're calling the wrong, that's why, I know why. Okay. We didn't define a resource here. And so it gets all confused. And also it's calling group here. So there we go. That was our issue. And we have an error still. Property ID of undefined. Oh, of null. Okay, interesting. Alright. I think I'm going to take a break. Kind of hungry and whatnot. So Alright. Thanks for watching. I'll be back, probably. I gotta eat, you know? Can't starve. I started a bit late, you know? Saturday. Anyway, see ya.